Yeah, we've got... Yeah, this is one way to put it. From Too Lazy to Blink, we have a super saying, as a comparison, an ultimate is a chain of bosses. Imagine having a single fight that lasts 17 minutes where you have to do Mythic Maiden and then immediately do Mythic Avatar and finally kill Jaden. That, I am so tired even thinking about that, and I've never done Mythic of any of those fights.
This is nuts. I can actually, like, thinking about that, I felt my heart rate rise. Because there's nothing I love more in video games than being, not like, I don't mind like small tests that are very, very intense, but I love like whenever I'm finished with doing like anything in the game, and I'm just like, I need a jug of water and a nap after that. I'm exhausted. I love that. I love when you're just engaged for so long. Like I almost want to see how long the flow state can physically last.
Yeah.
In a human, I want to go. Can I? Because this will be maybe a fun anecdote if anyone knows Betwixt and Between, the Japanese artist who sadly committed suicide a couple of years ago. But I actually have a copy of his album sitting on my desk because I love it so much. It's called Nanosecond Eternity, and it's this 40-minute long hardcore like J-core album, and it's very like I want to say psychedelic. It's kind of almost a little bit trancey, a little bit intense, but I played Beat Hazard, which is the put your own music into a asteroid style shmup with a couple extra mechanics, and I played the entire album in Beat Hazard, and that was 40 minutes long on like a very hard difficulty. And I remember I was sweating like crazy. I finished it and I got up and I was like, yeah, and that was one of the most memorable gaming experiences I ever had, because I remember how it felt in those last 5 minutes. I knew the song was coming to an end. I hadn't been hit, and I was just sweating like crazy.
Okay, that you did that and didn't get hit for a whole fucking thing of that game is insane to me, because I played a tiny bit of it on TB's recommendation years and years and years ago. I guess it's that feeling like you've been in a 45-minute long StarCraft 2 bout that just has almost burnt your brain out. And yeah, it's a big thing.
It's the kind of thing where I feel like I should really actually just go get into some combat sports, because I feel like that feeling of just being, and this is weird. I'm not going to say anything about it as a spoiler, but there's a character in FF14 who's very much likes that feeling as well. And one of the lines they deliver whenever you meet them I don't think it's the first time, maybe the first time, they say something for the time between the seconds live, and then something. But it's the idea of like that just really resonated with me, is for the time between the seconds, for when a second becomes eternity. Yeah, because you're just so hyper focused. You're living in that very moment of time where everything is just you're just at one with the universe doing what you're doing.
And it's games. I feel like games, playing music at a high level, playing sports at a high level, it's like that's that unique sort of thing where you tap into that part of the human experience.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep, absolutely.
We've got Drew Malakath saying ultimates are also alternate canon / what if scenarios. The devs also refuse to release an ultimate they haven't beaten as well internally. Yeah. So that's quite interesting. And the whole thing with ultimates just made me realize there has been an ultimate in World of Warcraft before, for the anniversary event in the Caverns of Time.
Oh, don't you dare call it an ultimate.
I knew that would inflict pain.
Spit that word out of your mouth, you bastard.
Which, that's like the boss rush of, it was like the boss rush of the...
Yeah, the Wrath. No, it wasn't the Wrath.
It was... well, there's a Wrath one and the TBC one, wasn't it? Why can I no longer remember that?
It was
those chains of bosses anyway. Yeah. But it's actually a neat idea, because imagine if like Blizzard just said, hey, yeah, we're I don't know, in this patch here's a new raid feature called Ultimate the Burning Crusade. Yeah. We are going to tie these things together. We've also tuned them up and sort of redesigned them a little bit. Yeah. There you go. Chromie's involved, so it's cool and you like it. People would be like, let's go. Yep. People would be in.
Absolutely.
People would be so in. So that's interesting. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. We got a super from Corbin saying, bear in mind FF14 puts out less raid content than WoW each tier. Savage, normally only 4 bosses every 6 months. Yep. Yeah, that's fairly big. And do you know what's funny to me? Because I don't want to play FF as a mono game. It's like something I'll dip in and out of. I actually do believe over years now. I'm actually okay with that because I'm just like, yeah, I'll go and do the new thing, then I'll be done. I'll come back whenever they have a new thing for me. Yeah. And it's like, it's that they seem to be very comfortable for their game to be that. Yep. That is why I'm okay to engage with it. Whereas in WoW, it's like they're only giving us 2 months of content, but they're trying to squeeze it out to like 6 through all of these progression systems that feel really, you know, just injected in and don't feel natural. Mm-hmm. So it's like the admission that we can only do so much. It's like, okay, admit that, only do that much and do it well, and then people will be happy, versus the bits where it kind of feels like WoW's nickel and diming you on an extra week with just some, you know, what we talked about earlier in the show.
Actually, that's an interesting thing that Luke and Shassel says in chat. WoW future patch info feels like Blizzard trying to sell us on spending more time in game. FF14 future patch videos feel like they're asking for our approval. And that reminds me of something very particular from a video on the news channel quite a while ago.
Oh yeah?
It was the Xbox one. Where, remember how Xbox tried to make their mark in Japan?
Oh,
Bill Gates went to Tokyo Game Show and gave a presentation, a pitch. He basically tried to sell them on this big black box that played games really nice. And they were like, that's not how business is done here. We were expecting you to come up and say your philosophy on like how you actually work as a business, how you handle all this stuff, what you're going to bring to the market. But instead, you're an American going, buy our product. It's big. It's class. It plays PC games, sort of. You don't even know what those are, Japan, at this point in time. Because the last PC games you played were on the PC 98. So it's just that case of, it feels like that, where WoW is that American kind of, here's, please buy it. This is going to be class. This is going to make, I don't know, this is going to make you better in bed, blah, 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 blah. And then you go to Japan, they're like, is this enough yet?
Yeah, there is definitely a vibe of we are awesome, our game is epic, and it's like almost taken for granted sometimes. I guess maybe Blizzard don't seem humble. Yeah. Blizzard devs don't seem humble, and I think actually that's why Morgan Day came off better in that follow-up interview with Salute, because there was actually bits where he was caught off guard and he didn't try to blag his way through it. The dude was just like, oh yeah, that is interesting to think about that. Yeah. It's like it actually felt like a... You know, it felt humble. And I think that's people really gravitate towards that. Whereas whenever a criticism is met with an explanation that is really not that satisfying because it's so philosophical, it basically doesn't matter because it's not in line with how it actually feels, then that just does not feel humble. Yeah.
It's not necessarily to say one's better than the other, because obviously I think there's a lot of problems with general parts of all cultures. I think there's a little bit of Japanese fetishism that goes on, especially among weebs, that is definitely a little bit unwarranted. It's kind of a grass is greener thing. But I think in this case, people absolutely resonate with it in a big way. Well, like, yeah. All right, well, you know, thank you for trying. As opposed to, we know that you've just polished that turd. Why are you trying to tell us it's not a turd? Like, that's kind of the feel.
Whenever you have WoW developers really seem like they are on Twitter and stuff. Yeah. Very much in their ivory tower. A few of them have done that. And I'm not doing anything to draw attention to people specifically, but there are a few WoW devs who feel extremely ivory tower, almost sneering at the players. Yeah. No. You can. I mean, there's one or two times that's actually been overt. There's lots of times where it feels in between the lines. Yeah. Implied.
Yeah. The overt ones really make me like. They almost anger me in a sense.
Oh, there was a few tweets that legit pissed me off recently because it's like you don't get to do that tweet while you ship the systems that you boys are shipping. Yeah. That's basically what it was like.
Yeah, it's like, how about you tweet that whenever your game isn't significantly worse than Final Fantasy XIV in almost all facets. Thank you.
Big statement.
Yep.
big statement.
I'll fucking stand by it. Like, I'll stand by it. Absolutely. But
we just want WoW to be. Yeah. I mean, there was a bit of me like, listen, I do kind of just want WoW to... I want WoW on FF. Like, I want WoW to be better than FF. Yeah. So that FF, next time, it is better than WoW. Yeah. So that the next time after that, WoW is better than FF. Because they're all just fighting with each other to be the damn best. Mm-hmm. And it feels like FF is really taking that fight on and doing a great job. And Blizzard are just, like, missing a bunch. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Now there is an FF criticism here in a super from Mirasi, who says, as a long-time FF player since ARR, I will not say it's flawless. One quality of WoW I love and wish FF had was utilization of CCs, e.g. Frostmage. Yep. So to which I will say, Yes, whenever WoW, like, I mean, some of my greater memories in WoW are like, Frost or freezing? The hard,
Trap.
yeah, freezing trap. Freezing trap and Chimerish. Was it Chimerish thing? No. Wyvern's thing?
Wyvern's thing,
Oh, yeah,
Wyvern's
the
thing.
talented
Sleep.
yeah, like doing a lot of that intricate CCing in Cataheroics.
Cataheroics, yeah.
Yeah, really fun.
Yeah, so FF doesn't really have anything even close to that as far as I've experienced so far. I think it's a lot more pure mechanically.
Interesting.
I think, and this is something I kind of wanted to talk about in depth, that I won't go too far into it now, but I did see people talk about how raid fights are so much more mechanically dense in FF. And I think that's like, I think, was it someone in our chat from last week said it's like playing DDR? It's like playing DDR to avoid mechanics while also like playing Guitar Hero to play your class.
Yeah, that was it.
That's what it feels like to me. And as someone who likes that real, like, I am consistently in the flow, like making kind of tactical decisions isn't what I really like about video games. I enjoy it, okay, but it's like the closer you get to, almost like what I was saying about for this time between the seconds, the closer you get to that literal, every button matters, every bit of movement matters. It's the purest mechanics of just movement. That's the stuff I like more than anything else. And that's why FF's mechanics feel so amazing to me.
Right, so to you, that very, you could almost say nerdy mechanics, where it's based on, this buff and this thing and that thing, and it's like not very visual. It's all very sort of logical.
Yeah.
That's like less your speed. And certainly for me, it's like, I mean, even think of Goroth. That's just the fight where it's like, yeah, big spikes, big thing, in the room, react. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Or like, the for me, like the cool bits of Denathrius, and it was just Ramonia, and then just and you've got to do your dance.
That's
cool.
That's the stuff that had my heart absolutely pumping.
Yeah,
because that's where I felt those things of just, this is every single second matters. Every single thing I do, every second here matters massively. Yeah. I mean, actually, someone expanded on the quote, and it was a quote from the same person, from the same character. You live for those moments. You live for these moments, don't you? When all hangs in the balance, when the difference between life and death is but a single stroke. That's the stuff that I just really... I love that mechanically. Yeah. So I love Emerald Weapon, where there's lasers everywhere. Like, there's big AoE hitboxes spinning round, and you're just like, go, 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 while you're also keeping up the class mechanics. And because CC is not a big part of it, because interrupting is not a huge part of it, like, classes just have deeper mechanics in FF, because it's all part of this system of just, we're going to throw so much at your head that you're going to be overwhelmed, but react, learn the dance, be in the right place at the right time, step in time, you've got half a second to move, be where you need to be exactly when you need to be, instead of the more kind of organizational stuff where WoW despite having a faster combat system, feels so much slower to me.
Interesting.
And it's like every single time I'm on, every single like fight that's new to me, I read the guides and I'm still overwhelmed. I
guess is that just purely because, sure, the GCD is what the GCD is, blah, 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 but you still have a bunch of things to think about and stages, like even those that the Samurai has got like 3 kind of rotations within its rotation or whatever.
It's got 3 combo finishers it needs to use its like EI jutsu specific move, while also keeping up a dot and also managing positionals, and also managing cooldowns and other abilities, and another gauge full of resources that they have to spend on specific abilities. So it's that kind of case where it
actually reminds me of Classic. All of what you're saying reminds me of us in the Harpy Forest in Classic, actually. Because like even though the gameplay is slower, it's feeling that every button matters. Yeah. And then you've got to do that while you are having a big positional based dance. Yeah. So it's I think that thing where if you've got a lot of complexity in your solo class play, but you're there as a team, you've got to do your dance as a team. Purely just having the dance and keeping up your own thing, I guess that comes together well for what you like in a raid. Now, from what I understand, for like say what Preach likes, because he is a man who notably does not like dance fights. Yep. So what I'd be really interested in actually is it that he does not like dance fights, or that he doesn't like dance fights in the context of WoW mechanics? So I'd be very interested if Mike ever makes his way into doing a Savage raid. Yeah. Just get him through Savage Eden and just see what does he think. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard for somebody to just let Mike log into their account, explain the mechanics, and send him in. Yeah. I wonder. I don't know. TOS, etc. Account sharing.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I wonder. I do wonder. So, man, it's interesting. Interesting damn stuff, to be sure.
Yeah, I really want to. I probably will do some Savages this weekend if I can get if I can find a learning party. I absolutely will go to do it because I desperately want to feel what that's like. It's just I want that adrenaline.
Yeah,
and that's what it is to me. That's what World of Warcraft so rarely provides. So much of it's, especially when the class mechanics are honestly boring. Not to say I can do them all at an extremely high level, or that I am a remarkably high DPS, but unless I'm playing Shadow Priest or Affliction Warlock, or when there's a load of different amounts of targets popping up here and there, I'm mostly just like I've got a priority list of 6 buttons. This is nothing to me. I've played, not even like I'm particularly good at like games in general. It's just I'm used to playing action games. Give me something that actually has my blood rush from moment to moment. Otherwise you're boring me.
Yeah, knowing the games that you play and how fast paced they are, spooky. Debbie Wells is super saying, did you see Preach's video yesterday where he watched an FF raid and tried to figure out the mechanics? I did skim through it, yeah.
It was Titania Extreme, I think?
Yeah, and it was really funny because he basically could not quite believe that Lalafell existed.
Oh yeah. I mean, gnomes are in WoW. I mean, what's wrong with people's brains?
Because gnomes look like strange little fantasy creatures, Lalafell kinda do look like children and it feels uncomfortable.
They're potato toddlers. But as soon as you speak to one, you're like, well, you're the hardest cunt in this room, like.
Yeah, but I mean, you have a weeb watching anime, and then somebody who does not watch anime looks at some of the camera angles, and they'll be like, whoa!
Well, this is the one thing.
That camera just went between the boobs!
So, I actually have this.
Referencing High School of the Dead, I think.
Yes, yeah, that was the...
that's the famous egregious shot.
The sniper shot.
Yeah, the bullet goes between the boobs,
that was nuts.
Imagine having that, like, boob control.
That'd be nuts, like.
Just boobs avoiding armor.
Muscles there must be wild.
Yeah.
But, like, Lalafells definitely, like, have that look to them. But they never really act like that. And also, if anyone's getting weird ideas, that's on them. That's on them.
Yeah.
The game doesn't do any of that.
I know the game, it's just like, to some people, it's like weird and uncomfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I can understand because if you're very used to Japanese games, generally the likes of the Lalafell.
Yeah.
And I believe there is one in, what's the combat-y?
What's the combat-y?
The combat-y MMO, the action combat-y MMO.
Terra?
Terra.
Oh, the Ellen?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no.
I hear the Ellen are like way worse.
So if you like, if anyone puts Ellen and the Lalafell in the same breath, they have a problem.
So is Lalafell like a bit different, but its own thing in the game universe, and it's all fine? And is Ellen just like, oh, you're an aunt?
Ellen are definitely much closer to the, like,
Is it Lolly they call it? Is Lolly the like sort of baiting the children sort of characters?
Yeah. So that
Gotcha.
like, Ellen are definitely like. Yeah, that's a bit uncomfortable. Why are their hips like that? Where's the camera angle there? Why is that?
Oh dear.
Why are those clothes on them?
Oh dear.
But then you go Lalafell, you're like they're literally just waddling potatoes. Like if you're looking down going, gosh, those pedos are at it again. It's like, no. You need your brain sorted out.
There's someone here saying the only Lalafells that act cute are the player Lalafells.
Yeah.
Which fair enough.
Yep.
Mikote are uncomfortable to you. Oh, we've got friggin' Gosu in here. Not okay with cat girls. I'll fight you, sir.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to say. Yuki Onna says Ellen are designed with wide like hips in an adult shape while still having like really childish facial features, whereas Lalafells are just blob.
Yeah.
You've just you've just grabbed a handful of mochi and bounced it off the floor, and there you go. You've got Lalafell.
Oh, there we go. Yoshi P plays a Lalafell. Hey.